All right, welcome back. Here's the final part of our Amazon FBA product research step-by-step guide. We're going to be finding out how to contact suppliers on a website called Alibaba, which is basically the wholesale version of Amazon in China. So you're going to be buying large quantities of your selected product. Now, we've figured out what our product is going to be, or at least what one that looks appealing to us, but we're not going to know if it's actually worth selling until we know a couple of things, like how much it's going to cost to source, which means how much it's going to cost to produce in China and send over to Amazon in the USA. And we need to look a little bit more at the PPC costs and especially at what it's going to cost to sell it on Amazon. So until we know all of that stuff, we don't know if this is a good product or not. Right now it looks okay, but we need to find out a little bit more. So let's dive right in. Okay, so here we are back with our premium knit armchair slipcover. Now what we need to do is we need to find this product on Alibaba.com. So I'm just going to search for knit armchair slipcover, because if we don't include knit here, it might pull up other stuff. This sort of looks knitted. So let's just pull up Alibaba.com. That's the web address here. And we're just going to put that search term into the search bar here. Now this part of the process can sometimes take a little time. Sometimes it's not easy to find the exact product on Alibaba. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to hunt for it until I can find one. As you can see, it's bringing up all kinds of different crap. This is probably the closest, but that's a couch cover and it's 30 bucks. So it's obviously not feasible. So I'm going to find this and then we'll catch back up at that point. Oh, and one important thing that I almost forgot to mention is that whenever you search on Alibaba, you may want to make sure that you tick trade assurance and gold supplier. Now, trade assurance is basically protection for you as a buyer. So you want to make sure that the supplier offers it, because not all of them do. And gold supplier plus here, that just basically means that they're a good seller on Alibaba. They've been there for a while and they don't have a whole ton of complaints against them. So there's other stuff that we will look at in other videos that go into sort of vetting your supplier and deciding if they're good or not, but that's not what this video is about. Right now we just want to know the basics of how to find one of these products. So not a whole lot of products here. No, here we go. This looks more like what we're going after. I can't really see this, but this might be, it's a god-awful color, but yeah, this is basically what we're after. So they do, most of these suppliers you're going to find offer variations. They'll have a whole bunch of different variations in the pictures. So one thing that we want to look at right away is how long they've been selling on Alibaba, where they're located. This just reaffirms what we saw in the search results. On-site check means someone from Alibaba has actually confirmed that this is a real factory. Because a lot of the sellers on Alibaba, if they don't have this, you don't know. They might just be a middleman. They might not even be the actual manufacturer. So you don't want to get into that situation if you can avoid it. This basically looks like it. It's a god-awful color. It looks lower quality. However, if we scroll down, a lot of times they'll have different variations of it in their ad, and I don't know why they would put this ugly one up here when they have other nicer looking pictures here. But they obviously do different prints. It looks like they even include the pillow slip cover, which is what we wanted. That's what we're going to do to differentiate our product, if you remember from the other videos. So they obviously do offer different things. Oh, here we go. They offer tons of different stuff. So in all likelihood, they will make something that looks like this. It might not be the exact same quality, but that's okay, because what we're going to do is we're going to message multiple. We're going to keep searching I'm not going to do that right now because now here's another one that looks pretty much exactly the same. Yeah, this is basically the exact same product. It's even got the knit style. This is exactly it. This is probably the supplier that these people use. So, but regardless, we're still going to find, even though we found the one that they use, we're still going to find at least 4 or 5. I usually go with 5. Sometimes I've gone with upwards of 5. But we're going to find 5 of them to message. So once we've found 5 of these guys to message that have similar products, we're going to look through, make sure that it's, wait a minute, is this the same company? Yeah, it is. So that's another thing you want to be cautious of, is you want to look at who the people are that are selling it, because you're going to end up sending the same people a message, because they'll have, likely it'll be either the same exact person or someone else at the same company that's put a similar listing up. So I've done that before, where I've sent 5 people a message and I got 3 messages back from the same person. So you'll need to actually spend time. Like I said, it can be a little frustrating at times to find the product, but you're going to want to go through a whole ton of results and find at least 4 or 5 of them. Send them messages by hitting contact supplier here, and that'll open up a window where you'll be able to see who it is that you're contacting. So do that on a couple of them and make sure that you're not contacting the same person. See, this is the same supplier, different listing. So you're going to want to make sure that we may as well just get rid of one of these. This one, however, is a different supplier, I believe. Yeah, so this is a different supplier. So look up there, and up at the top of the contact supplier form, and make sure that you're sending messages to different suppliers. Now, what are you going to say to them? Well, I've made your life really easy because I've uploaded to the Google Drive, the Amazon Hard Truths Google Drive, the exact template that you're going to send these guys. So you're just going to take this and you're going to basically copy this. So I'll just read this over with you, because you're not always going to send the exact same thing depending on what your product is. You might want to change this up. Customize it to your liking, but this is essentially what I send to people. Hello, my name is Tito. I am the owner of blank company, an e-commerce store in the United States. You don't necessarily have to tell them you're selling on Amazon. You can if you want. I would usually wait until I'm a little more comfortable with them before I tell them where I'm selling. If I'm going to be telling them my company name, sometimes I don't even tell them my company name right off the bat. I used to always, but now I don't, just because I know how many dirty suppliers there are on Alibaba that are only fishing for your information. Anyway, we are looking to add a premium knit armchair slipcover to our online store. I usually will throw this in. You might want to leave it out, but is it possible to order fewer than the minimum order quantity? That's what MOQ stands for, as a test order to see if the item will sell. A lot of them say that you have to order a minimum of 1,000 units. So you may or may not want to do that depending on your budget and depending on the price of the item. If so, please advise on the below questions. Could you provide me with a quotation for 500 units? That's usually what I start with. X work, EXW stands for X work. That means just the price of producing the item and leaving it at their factory door for your freight forwarder to pick up. And we're going to get into that in a minute. X work price for the blank, whatever your product is, as pictured in your ad. So I like to specify, if it's the one that's pictured in their ad, then I want to tell them this is exactly what I want. I'll tell them exactly what color it is and exactly the style that's in the picture. Because sometimes they'll get confused and they'll quote you something that you don't want. Box packaging, or OPP bag, is another common method of packaging. I usually go with a box because it looks nicer and it's usually not that much more expensive. Box packaging to fit whatever it is. Mine, I had multiple units, but if we're doing this product, you would just say to fit one each, including a slip cover for the pillow. Smallest size box available, please. That just will save you on the Amazon fees. UPC code, that's the barcode that you're going to send them, to be stickered on the box. our company logo printed on each box. The attached, send them a copy, a picture of your logo. If you want to at this stage, you don't have to. You can just say, or you can send them a fake logo if you're not comfortable with telling them that yet. And we're going to talk about how to design your logo in a future video, so don't worry about that. Suffocation warning. Now this is really important. This is where most gurus will leave it. They'll just say, tell me how much this is. You're going to end up going back and forth with them multiple times if you only ask them for that. I asked them for everything that they're going to charge me for all right up front. So they're going to charge you for any bags, because this is going to come in a bag. They're not just going to send this in a box by itself. They're going to likely send this in a box and in a bag. So you want to make sure that they put a suffocation warning, because Amazon won't sell your product. They'll send it back to you, or they'll send it back to China if it arrives there in a bag that you were too dumb to know that your supplier was going to put it in, and it doesn't have a suffocation warning on it. So it needs to have that. It needs to have made in China. Usually they don't charge you for this because everybody needs that. Printed somewhere on the packaging. I put mine on the box just so that you don't have to have it on every little bag, because in this case, this thing might come with a bag, and then the pillow, wherever it is, it was on the other listing, but the pillow might come in a separate bag as well. So next, you want to include a thank you card or an instructions card. So if you're doing a product like this one, I would include instructions, because people are really stupid. You're going to be surprised, and you're going to get a bad review or two just on the fact that some dumbass couldn't figure out how to put the slip cover on the chair. On your so an attached thank you card, the attached thank you card, and I'll send them a copy of the thank you card and or instructions to be printed on your least expensive size of card and inserted into the package. So like I said, you're going to want to tweak this depending on what your product is. If it's something complicated or even something that any idiot could get wrong, you're going to want to include instructions, trust me. And then please advise how to order a sample. Some of them have an AliExpress listing, which is the best. Ask them, you might even want to ask them that. Do you have an AliExpress listing that I can order from? Because then you're going to get cheaper shipping. And a lot of the people who sell on AliExpress have stock in the States already. So you might be able to get it in just a couple of days for a really cheap price. And then just thank you, I look forward to working with you. Put your name and your company name at the bottom. So that's what you send them. Now, the price is going to range very wildly between competitors, and it's going to range very wildly between what the listing actually says. So this one says it's $8.40 to $12.50. They're likely going to come back and quote you somewhere around this, but we're going to get into the next couple of videos. We're going to get into how to negotiate with these guys, because they're going to try and obviously make as much profit off of you as possible. And you're going to have to negotiate with them, probably going back and forth a few times before you get them closer to this or even below this. A lot of times I've gotten quoted much lower than this price, even right off the bat sometimes, but very rarely. Normally they'll quote you closer to that. So let's assume these other ones I think I closed the other listings, but the other ones, this one here, I think it said it said 450 or so, depending on how many units you order. So if you order over 1,000 or 1,000, you'd be getting it for this. So usually when they quote it like this, when they say how many units they're gonna sell it for, it'll be closer. So that it won't be so far off. It'll be closer to that. They'll probably come back and say $4.50 or something here, or $4, and then you can usually negotiate them down to this, or $3.25 or something like that. Typically, the rule of thumb is 70% of whatever they offered you. So if they offered you $1, you come back, you counter them with 70 cents. So that's the general rule of thumb, but like I said, that's for another video. So let's assume that we got this thing for $3.50. Is that going to allow us to make a profit? So how we're going to know that is we're going to go back to our listing here, and we're going to run one of two extensions on it. We're either going to run the AMZ Scout FBA calculator, which is going to tell you, you're going to be able to put in all of your stuff here, so $3.50. Our shipping cost, now we don't know what this is yet, because we're going to need to get a freight forwarder involved, and the freight forwarder I use is Forest Shipping. Now I'm going to put a link to their website in this video as well, but we're going to talk more about shipping in another video. Again, we just want to kind of gloss over this. I'm just going to guess and say this is around $2 because we're going to sea ship this. Like I said, this is going to be, if you could airship this, but it's going to eat up most of your profits. So we don't need it immediately. We're not desperate. So we're just going to factor in $2. Now, don't worry about filling out all of this stuff. Just for now, we want to kind of know a ballpark of how profitable this is going to be. So what you want to look at here is the monthly storage fee, the pick and pack fee, and the referral fee. So the total FBA fee, the thing I like about the AMZ Scout calculator is it will break it down for you and you don't have to add it all up in your head. The other one that I use is the, what is this one called? Seller Board FBA calculator. Now this has different information in it, but it doesn't add up the Amazon fees, which are these ones here. So just to save you doing that, I recommend using the AMZ Scout. So this looks pretty good from the just first glance. Now again, we don't know for sure what the shipping is going to be, but I would be really surprised if Forest Shipping couldn't get this product for $2 per unit US to the States. So the margin impact is what your profit is. So $15, you're close to a 50% profit margin on this product, because this is using the normal price. Now they're doing like a coupon right now. So you know, you may want to base it off of the coupon price just to be a little bit more. I like to be as conservative as possible in these situations. So even basing this conservatively, like if we say this is $450, let's say the shipping is a little more than we anticipated, $250, I can't see it being more than that, and we're only selling it for $28, we're still gonna be making $10 on this. So it looks pretty decent at this point. So that's roughly a 30% profit margin, which is kind of the bare minimum. You want to stay above that in case you have any surprise costs. So it looks pretty good. It doesn't look too bad, but we have to find out a lot more information before we decide for sure, because we don't know what these suppliers are going to come back and say as to what the product cost is going to be. You know, it may be more than this, who knows? We want to make sure of all of that. So we can't say for sure that this is a good product yet. There's one other thing that we can kind of look at now, which we already did look at in the other video, is we can go back and look at what the PPC cost for chair covers. That's, if you remember, that was our main search term that we're going to use. The PPC broad match, which is what you're going to get most of your profitable sales on, if you're anything like me at least, is only 60 cents. So that's pretty good. So if we plunk that number into our AMZ calculator, for some reason it never really changes it very much, but the cost per click cost is what that stands for. That's basically your advertising cost on every person who clicks on your ad. You're going to get charged 60 cents, assuming the Jungle Scout calculator is correct here. So again, we don't want to go too deep into that on this video. We just wanted to know if this is a good product, and it looks okay. What we said before was that it's too high competition, but because the advertising, the PPC cost is affordable, that doesn't necessarily mean we couldn't sell it. It just means it's probably going to take us a long time to get to page 1 because it's so, I'm not going to enter all this crap, but we already looked at that the other day. We know it's high competition, and that's the main downside to it. But for the pros, the PPC cost is affordable. It looks like it's fairly affordable to source from Alibaba. The shipping costs, based on my experience, now you would have to wait until your freight forwarder got back to you and told you what the shipping cost was going to be, but it looks affordable. And you might want to ask in your letter as well, you might want to ask what the X-Work price is, the EXW, and you also might want to ask them what the DDP price is. Now that means delivered duties paid. So that means that they're going to deliver it to Amazon's door and quote you an all-inclusive price. In my experience, it's still better to go through your freight forwarder and get them to ship it via air freight. So air freight is different than DDP. So again, that's a topic for another video, but what we're just trying to find out now is kind of a ballpark whether this is a profitable good product that we can sell. It looks like it's something we could sell, but I guarantee you, you're gonna find much better stuff than this. So we'll put this one in the maybe pile. It's okay, but there's a couple of cons that are pretty big cons. There's a lot of pros, but it looks pretty good. Even from a conservative standpoint, you're gonna probably be making around 30% profit margin. So that's it for now. Let's get back to the warehouse and see what Tony thinks of this. So Tony, what do you think? Good product? You gonna sell that one? You weren't listening, were you? He doesn't do anything. Doesn't even listen. Anyway, that's it for today. Make sure that you like, comment, and subscribe. All three of those actions help us in the YouTube search algorithm so we can reach more people and tell people the real truth about selling on Amazon and burst the bubble of a few of these fake ass gurus out there. Hit the bell icon as well. That will tell you when we upload. That'll notify you for sure. Normally, YouTube can be a little as the kids say. And make sure you share this video with your Amazon friends, anyone in any of the groups that you know. I'm not saying go and spam it in the group, but maybe send it to people that you know who are struggling with Amazon. Just send them a direct message and let them know about this channel and share this video with them. So that's it for today. I guess we're going to get Tony to do the one thing that he does know how to do. Tony, cut the feed!